I also want to thank Jackie Goldberg. And for everybody that's here, it's so nice as I look out, I see a lot of people I've known for quite a long time. And we've been through a lot of battles together, a lot of campaigns, and this is a good idea. And I just felt like I wanted to do something, and this is something I could do. So here we are, do it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Keep the battle going. We got a battle. We're in a battle. We're in a war. I'm going to introduce. Let's see. I'm going to introduce Jackie Goldberg next. And wait, before you stand up, I just want to say, if she was running for president, I'd vote for her. She's my president and has been for 50 years.
But I would never miss an opportunity to introduce to you a person who is important to the future of this state and to the future of our country. This is a man who lives in Kern County. All I have to do is think of the time I was on the assembly and I was in Kern County and thinking, oh my God, I don't think I could live here, I don't think I could manage. It's not just MAGA country, it's MAGA plus country. If there are a few people who are outstanding who manage to find a way to make progress in spite of this. He is on a 5-person Visalia school board, okay? 4 Republicans, 1 Democrat and Latino, he gets both categories, and he has made a difference. Even though he's 1 of 4 votes and it takes 3 to change everything, he managed to work them up to a point where they gave a 10% raise for their faculty. A 10% raise for the classified, including custodians and everybody else. And I don't know how he did it, but he passed a resolution designating Pride Month. Almost life-threatening. I mean that seriously. And yet the board voted for it and passed it. And this is a board that 20 years ago the ACLU sued because of the way they mistreated gay and lesbian and transgender youth. So he has made progress as a voice who has leadership skills and the ability to get people who didn't necessarily welcome him to the board to go along with him and make some real changes. And he is now going to be running for Congressional District 22. And I'm not going to say any more because he speaks so well for himself, but I'll be back. You all know why I'll be back. So without any further ado, he's a PhD and he teaches in community colleges. I think you're teaching political science, aren't you? Yep.
All right.
And he's a doctorate, the first in his family, and probably the first among very few in his community, believe it or not, that has managed to be able to get to a doctorate. So he's a bright, vocacious, loquacious, darling candidate who is going to bring Democrats to Congress with our help.
Yes.
Randy Villegas.
How about another round of applause for Jackie? And I also want to begin by thanking our hosts for today. If you could please stand and be recognized. Please, a big round of applause for our hosts who worked so hard. Thank you so much. And thank you to all of you for making the time to be here today. I'm Dr. Randy Villegas. I am a professor, an auto repair shop owner, a school board trustee, and your candidate for Congress in CD 22. But before I was any of those things, I was a young boy growing up in Bakersfield. A young boy that was hungry and at times didn't know where his next meal was going to come from. Because like many families, my parents worked jobs that paid too damn little to be able to afford groceries, to be able to put food on the table consistently. And so as I grew up, I learned to love school, both because I was hungry for knowledge and also hungry for food. And that was one of the places where I knew I would have a warm, fresh meal because of free and reduced breakfast and lunch programs. It's because of programs like WIC. My mother was one of the 40,000 women in this district who relied on WIC to make sure she had baby formula for myself and my siblings. It was programs like Medicaid that actually made sure that she had what she needed both before and after delivery. And now all of those programs are being cut and are under threat, right? I grew up in Bakersfield, went to Bakersfield College. Oh, sorry, can you all hear me better now?
Yeah.
Awesome. I went to Bakersfield College, CSU Bakersfield, and by the grace of God, I got a full ride scholarship to get my PhD at UC Santa Cruz. And thank you, yeah. And it was about halfway through that program that COVID hit and devastated so many families, like my own, many of yours, devastated all of our communities. I lost my grandmother to COVID, and I thought about dropping out of my program because my family's business was struggling. Our auto repair shop was struggling. People were not traveling, people were not getting their cars fixed, and unfortunately the Trump administration had decided that because we were an immigrant-owned business, that we didn't qualify for any paycheck protection program or any other programs. Thankfully, I found a job. I was 25 years old, there was a one-year temporary position for a professor at a local community college. I applied not thinking I would get it, but I shot my shot and I got it. And the next year I reapplied, was rehired, and I've been teaching for the last 5 years. And then I joined the Visalia Unified School Board because I recognized that I had to give back to my communities. Thankfully, I didn't drop out of my program. I continued to study. I worked full time, worked on my PhD at the same time, and finished, right? And so I've been fighting for students. I've been fighting for working families my whole life, and I'm ready to continue this fight in Congress because the same programs I grew up on are all being cut. This big BS budget that was passed by Congressman Valadeo and the Republican Party, it's gonna cut Medicaid by $880 billion. And we have more Medicaid recipients in this district than anywhere else across the country. 2 out of every 3 constituents relies on Medicaid.
Wow.
He had signed on to several letters saying that if this touched Medicaid in any single way, he would not vote for it. And he lied 3 times that he voted for it. But it's not just Medicaid, it's gonna cut SNAP, it's gonna cut WIC. It's literally gonna take food out of the mouths of hungry children. And like I told people at a town hall that I spoke at with Congressman Ro Khanna, because Valadeo hasn't had a public town hall in over a decade, if you can believe that.
Wow.
I told the audience that the most ironic part about all of this is that Congressman Valadeo has a healthcare plan as a member of Congress, a government-sponsored healthcare plan. And I think he needs to use that plan to schedule a physical, because he needs to look for that spine that he's been missing these last few years, right? And we need to call that out. We need to be aggressive as Democrats. We need to show people that we're fighting.
Yeah.
And we've also got to be honest about where we are right now. Because I think any Democrat could have told you that they would have voted no for that big BS budget. I would have voted no as well. But let's talk about where we are right now as a country, even before these cuts go into effect. As it stands, 2 out of every 3 bankruptcies in this country are tied to medical debt. Let me say that again. 2 out of every 3 bankruptcies in this country are tied to medical debt. Every year, over 66,000 people die because they don't have health insurance. Not because we couldn't treat them, not because we couldn't save them, but because of a system that denied them care. This should not be happening in the richest country in the history of the world.
Right.
And that's why I'm a proud supporter of Medicare for all and universal health care in this country. It is ridiculous that we spend more than any other country. I want you to raise your hand if you or someone you love relies on Medicaid.
Okay.
I want you to raise your hand if you or someone you love has chosen not to go to the doctor because they were afraid they couldn't afford it. Look at all these hands. It's ridiculous. I know people in my community will drive 7 hours to Tijuana to get cheaper dental work done and to get cheaper prescription drugs. And that should not be happening in this system. But why is it happening? Because politicians sell us out to the same corporations that are ripping us off. And here, I come to something that my mom taught me at a very early age, a dicho, a saying of wisdom. She would tell me, "Dime con quién andas y te diré quién eres," which translated to English means, tell me who you're with, and I'll tell you who you are. And I think the same thing can be said about politics. Tell me who you're taking money from, and I'll tell you who you're actually working for.
Right.
That's why I am proud to be the only candidate in this race that is not accepting a dime from corporate PACs. Because we need to be accountable to our communities, not corporations and not special interests. And let me tell you, we're not just in a fight to flip the House. We're not just in a fight against the Republican establishment. We are in a fight for the soul of the Democratic Party. Because let me tell you a little bit about both of my opponents. I told you a little bit about 𝐷𝐸𝐷, what he voted for. We expect him to be aligned with Trump. But let me tell you a little bit about my Democratic opponent in this race. My Democratic opponent in this race takes more fossil fuel money than any Republican in the state legislature. My Democratic opponent in this race has failed to show up for our communities. There was recently a bill introduced in the legislature to have stronger pesticide reporting requirements near schools where our children learn and play. She did not support that bill. There was another bill to ban a toxic cancer-causing agent, DEHP. She did not support that bill. As we have ICE agents terrorizing our communities through the streets of Los Angeles, through California, throughout the country, California Democrats pushed back and said, we need to pass a bill to unmask these ICE agents and make sure they identify themselves. She did not support that bill. And most of all, as President Trump and Texas tries to rig our democracy and rig our election, we're fighting back with Proposition 50. And she was the only Democrat to vote no on placing Proposition 50 in the ballot. We are not in a moment where we can stand by and allow Trump and Republicans to rig our democracy. We are not in a moment where we can stand by as we fight against this fascist government. We need fighters who are going to show up every single day, and that's who I am. My parents sacrificed everything to give my siblings and I an opportunity and a better life. And my story is just one of many stories in the Central Valley. But we have too much talent that is trapped in poverty. We have so many folks who struggle, farm workers, teachers, people who work hard every single day, multiple jobs, just to put food on the table. And now 𝐷𝐸𝐷 has decided that he wants to rip away our health care. And I'm here to say that nobody should be fighting cancer and their congressman at the same time. Nobody should have to choose between rationing their medicine and their rent or their mortgage. We need to make sure that we're standing up for working families in every single decision that we make. And that means fighting for real representation that isn't going to sell us out. Because we can't just elect anyone to Congress. We need to elect somebody who's going to be championing working families. Where are my working families party folks at here in the audience? Awesome, awesome. Thank you for being here. I'm very proud to share that we have the endorsement of the California and the National Working Families Party in this race. We've also been endorsed by Congressman Ro Khanna. We are endorsed by all three chairs of our local Democratic Central Committee in Kern, Tulare, and Kings. And when redistricting goes through, the Fresno County chair has also supported our campaign. But these are the people. This is the future of our party. No longer can we stand aside as politicians sell us out. The Central Valley for far too long has been left behind by politicians who care more about power than people, and who are more interested in catering to corporations than our communities. And that's why I'm fighting every single day to be the representation that we deserve. But I'm not waiting until we get to Congress, because we're already organizing in our communities. When we saw ICE raids happening earlier this year, I immediately got to work on the school board, passed policies that says ICE cannot come onto our campus without a signed and dated warrant. Passed policies to make sure our children would be taken care of, that our staff would be trained. And I wanted to go further. I wanted to say, let's be the first sanctuary district in Tulare County. As mentioned earlier, I am on a board of 7 actually. I'm the only Democrat, the only Latino on the board. So unfortunately, my colleagues shot me down. Right? I'll be honest with you, I went home that night, I was angry, I was frustrated, I shed a few tears, and then I put on my organizer hat and said, what can I do? And so I organized a Know Your Rights workshop, and I brought together 16 pro bono immigration attorneys from Bakersfield, from Fresno, who did hundreds of consultations with our community for free, in addition to the larger Know Your Rights workshop. And we had so many people show up, at the end we had to collect people's information to follow up with their consultations. That's how much of a need there is in this district, right? So we don't have to wait. Yes, thank you. Thank you. We don't have to wait until 2026. We can fight and organize every single day. And as I look around this event here today, I'm reminded of the town halls that we've held across our district. I'm reminded of the children I've met here in this district, the folks who've shared their stories with me, fighting health struggles, fighting to afford their rent, fighting to keep their jobs. And I'm reminded of another saying, in English, right? They say it takes a village to raise a child. And certainly I wouldn't be here today without my mentors, my parents, so many folks who supported me throughout my life. But we know, especially in this moment, it takes more than a village, it takes a valley. And all of you are part of that valley and that movement by supporting this campaign, by ensuring that we not only flip the House, but we take back the Democratic Party. And we say no to corporate PAC money.
Yeah.
We say no to billionaires corrupting our politics.
Yeah.
We have to make a decision whether we are going to be the party of the working class or the party of corporations and billionaires. My opponents in this race, Democrat and Republican alike, are taking the same corporate PAC money. I'm gonna give you a couple of corporate PACs. I want you to tell me whether you think my Republican or my Democratic opponent took money from me. All right? Chevron, ExxonMobil,
Both.
McDonald's,
Both.
United Health.
Both.
You are correct. Both. And there's a list of 51 corporate PACs that is unfortunately growing that both of my opponents are receiving money from. And this is why people are frustrated with politics. This is why people are frustrated with government. People aren't dumb. Voters aren't dumb. If you give someone a $5,000 or $10,000 check, they know that's going to influence how they make decisions in DC. And so that's why I'm proud, again, to be the only candidate in this race to not accept that money. I don't have Elon Musk on my phone ready to speed dial. I don't have billionaires coming to support me. But what I do have is people, like all of you, who know that we need to fight for our country in this moment, who know that we need to fight for California, to fight for the Central Valley, and to take our country back, to have real representation in government. And so I thank you all for being here today. I thank you all for making the time to share this vision. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have, and thank you so much for being here today.